Hey, what's up? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing a ginormous summer book haul. Because I haven't done a book haul in a fat minute. I feel like it's been almost 2 months since the last time I've done a book haul, and since then I have gotten so many books. I've just accumulated all of the books. I want to say this is probably one of the biggest book hauls I've ever done on my channel. Like, maybe that's intense to say, but I feel like there's got to be at least like 50-ish books in front of me right now. So very exciting stuff. But before we do jump into today's video, I wanted to say a huge thank you to today's video sponsor, which is Bookfinity. This may come as a surprise, but oftentimes I find that my biggest struggle as a creator can be figuring out what to read next. It can be so easy to get sucked into this endless vacuum of book recommendations from online recommendations or from friends that don't take into account my personal taste. And that's why I'm so excited to be partnering with Bookfinity for today's video, because Bookfinity is a website for readers built by readers. There is a personalized quiz that matches you with the books that align best with your specific reader type. Bookfinity believes that finding your next book to read should not be hard. Their quiz takes time to get to know your personality, lifestyle, and reading habits to create an accurate reader type you will be excited to meet and explore. The best part too is that once you have your personalized recommendations, you can track the books you like, share your reactions with a really unique review system based on mood, and create custom lists of books that you can share with friends. I also thought the quiz was super fun and really easy to take, and they had some really interesting, unique questions on there, like listing out your favorite TV shows or which genres you love to read the most. And of course, you know, my reader type is the serial reader, which is no big surprise here because, you know, I'm a huge lover of thrillers and mysteries, and I love getting personalized mystery recommendations. 2022 is the perfect time to become a more active reader, but it's also important to enjoy the books that you're actually reading. That's why I'm asking my viewers to go and visit bookfinity.com and take the reader type quiz today. Let me know your reader type in the comments and which books you get recommended that you're very excited to read. Sponsors like Bookfinity help me continue to create the content that I do, so please go and support them by visiting bookfinity.com and take the quiz and get started today. Thank you so much once again to Bookfinity for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the books because there are so many. Alright, so the first little stack of books that I have came from Book of the Month. We did a video collaboration in June, and they sent me the June picks. The ones that stand out to me the most, though, are The Lifestyle. This is one that I'm still hoping to read because this one's like a contemporary romance, but it involves the New York City's swinger scene. And I don't even know, but it just sounds like it would be so interesting. So I do have the audiobook on hold at my library, but this is not one that I've gotten to yet, but it's still on my TBR. They also had The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. This was another pick from June, and this one's a thriller that I have not yet read either. This is the same author as The Last Flight, which is a thriller that I had meh feelings about, so that's why I'm kind of nervous to jump into this one. But if you've had a good experience with this, let me know if you think I should read it. She's been waiting 10 years for the woman who upended her life to return, and now that she has, she's determined to be the one to expose her. So, you know, it's that kind of thriller where people are exposing each other. Sounds wild. The one I'm most excited about from June is Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. This one is another thriller that I'm very excited about, and this one is actually my book club book troop pick for the month of August, so we will be reading this one together in the month of August. And this is the one that I'm just so excited to read because Jennifer Hillier is my freaking queen. And this one, it follows this woman named Paris who's arrested in her own bathroom covered in blood, holding a straight razor, her celebrity husband dead in the bathtub behind her. Like, what the heck? It sounds incredible. I can't wait to read it with you next month. I also, in the month of July, I didn't end up working with Book of the Month. However, I ended up buying 3 of the Book of the Month selections myself, you know, because as mentioned, I'm a huge Book of the Month fan. And so in the month of July, I ended up getting The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This is a romance that just sounds really cute. It's kind of like a bodyguard type romance, which is a trope that I think I really like, you know? To be honest though, when I got this book, I didn't realize that this author is Catherine Center, who's the same author of like How to Walk Away or like a few of those other romance books that I really didn't enjoy very much. So now I'm kind of nervous because I didn't realize it was that author, but like, I don't know, this has been getting really good reviews, and if I need something kind of lighthearted, I'm glad that I'll have this one to pick up. I also ended up getting You're Invited, which is a thriller that I'm so excited. Like, I was so excited to see this as a pick because I hadn't really heard anybody talking about this, but this one was on one of my most anticipated lists because it's a thriller that involves a wedding. It says, what could be worse than your ex-boyfriend marrying your childhood best friend getting accused of her murder. So we've got wedding murder vibes. It just sounds like it's gonna be incredible. And then I also ended up picking up The It Girl by Ruth Ware because even though I've had mostly meh experiences with Ruth Ware so far, I don't know why I always gravitate to her new books. I always want to give her new books a chance, and this one is pretty thick, not gonna lie. I was like, whoa, when I got this. It's about over 400 pages, so like hopefully this one will be a winner for me. This one sounds like it could be really different though and really unique for Ruth Ware because it says these two people, they met at Oxford. She became the ultimate it girl. She quickly pulled Hannah into her dazzling orbit. Together they cultivated a group of inseparable friends, but by the end of the year, April was dead. And then now it's 10 years later. And I don't know, it almost sounds like it has a similar premise to like In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting just based on that description alone. So like I'm pretty excited for this one, not gonna lie. Next up, I thought I would show all the books that I received from Penguin Random House. I have a little stack here from them. The first one that I got is Flying Solo by Linda Holmes. This is the same author as Evie Drake Starts Over, which was like one of my favorite contemporary kind of romance stories that I read a number of years ago now. And this is her newest book, so that's like the main reason why I was excited to read this one is because it's that same author. And this one just says, a woman returns to her small Maine hometown, uncovering family secrets that take her on a journey of self-discovery and new love. It sounds like it'll be a cute, wholesome time, you know? So like I'm really glad that I got this one. And then Penguin Random House also sent these 4 books that I recently just showed in my Summerween vlog. They sent Jaws, which is, you know, the freaking classic Jaws. Like I'm so freaking excited to read this book because I haven't read too many like classic horror books, and so I'm definitely planning on reading this one this October, even though I know this is probably more of a summer horror novel, but even still, I can't wait. I'm planning on doing a whole like classic horror vlog in October, so this is gonna be perfect for that. I can't wait, and I freaking love this new cover. I think this is like a newly published edition of it, and that's why they had it on the list that I could choose from, but oh my god, isn't this stunning? This is beautiful. And then they also sent me The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, and this is by Sylvia Morena Garcia. This is the same author as Mexican Gothic, and this is her newest release, so I'm very excited to get to this one as well. Apparently this one's a reimagining of the island of Dr. Moreau set against the backdrop of 19th century Mexico. So I don't even know what the island of Dr. Moreau is, if I'm being honest, but I'm still very excited to read this one. I just really enjoy this author's writing. So yeah, I'm very excited about that one. This cover is also so freaking beautiful. And then they also sent The New Neighbor by Karen Cleveland, and this one is another thriller, if you couldn't tell from this gorgeous cover. This one just says, secrets, jealousy, and paranoia collide when a seemingly perfect new family moves into a neighborhood with ties to the CIA. Like, what? And then lastly, they sent Upgrade by Blake Crouch, which this is one of my most anticipated books of the year. This is a sci-fi thriller from the same author as Dark Matter and Recursion, which are 2 of my favorites. And this is a book that I actually just finished reading very recently. I'm actually doing a Patreon exclusive reading vlog for this book this month, so I will have that linked down below if you want to check out my reading vlog for it, but if not, you'll hear about this in my wrap-up. Oh my god, Blake Crouch is just a freaking icon. And then Viking Books sent me 2 of Matt Haig's recent books. So they sent The Midnight Library and How to Stop Time. They were basically doing like an Instagram campaign where they wanted to send me these 2 books in the tote bag, and I was like, heck yes, that sounds so cool, because The Midnight Library is one of my favorite books that I read either last year or the year before, and it's just such a beautiful freaking great story, and I just loved it so much. But I was very excited to read How to Stop Time. I have not yet read this one, and I've only heard good things about this one, and I love Matt Haig's writing style. He writes very like thought-provoking, interesting things about life, and I just love his fictional stories. They usually have some kind of thing to do with like either like time travel or like they have some kind of sci-fi aspect to most of his stories that I just really love. Like this one makes you think about like the different choices you could have made in your life, and it kind of explores different versions of yourself essentially if you had made different decisions. And then from what I understand about How to Stop Time, it involves some kind of time travel aspect to it. I don't really know, but I'm so excited to have both of these books. I freaking love Matt Haig. Then Blackstone Publishing recently sent me The Great Gatsby. This is a new edition that they just recently published, and oh my god, is this not stunning? Like, I just can't get over the beauty of this edition. I genuinely think it's so beautiful, and in the month of July, I got to finally read The Great Gatsby for the first first time ever in my life, and it was a very interesting experience. I feel like this is one of those classics that's very readable, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't take too much brain power to read this, you know? And in this edition, it's really cool because they have all these like different artwork moments of like a lot of the iconic moments in the book. Like, I don't know, I just thought this edition in particular is so stunning, and I'm so glad that I finally read The Great Gatsby. Like, I can finally say that I've read it, you know? And then Eric LaRocca was kind enough to send me 2 of his recently published books. We have We Can Never Leave This Place, which is a novella, and then we also have Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Misfortunes. So this one is like a collection of short stories. It starts with Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, which is one of my favorite books of all time, literally. And then we also have 2 other short stories included in this, so I have not yet read the other 2 short stories in this, but I'm very much looking forward to it because of how much I love Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. And then this one is another novella. It's another short story, but this one's a little bit more like horror fantasy, and some of the fantasy went a little bit over my head, like, not gonna lie. Some of this book was a little bit confusing for me, but either way, I love this author's writing style like so fucking much. Like, he just has such a great way of like getting under your skin with like the creepy horror descriptions. I love it. Next up, Berkeley Romance sent me 1,000 Miles by Bridget Morrissey, and this one is a romance novel that I was very excited to read. It says, after a decade of silence, Dee and Ben reunite for a road trip they once promised to take, and it's going to be a bumpy ride. So it's basically like, you know, road trip romance. I did end up reading this one in the month of July. Something that I really liked about this book is the inclusion of a podcast. Like, the girl in this book, she's like a podcaster, and the podcast is called Did I Forget to Tell You? And I would highly recommend checking out the audiobook for this, actually, because the audiobook has really cool like podcast sounding parts in it where it feels like you're listening to a real podcast, which was really cool. But yeah, more thoughts to come on this one in my July wrap up. And then same goes for this next one, which was sent by Dell. They sent How to Fake It in Hollywood by Ava Wilder. This is another one of my most anticipated romances of the year, because this is one I was really excited about because it involves fake dating. It involves these 2 actors in Hollywood. It just sounded like everything that I ever needed in a book, but did it live up to that expectation? Did it? I don't know, you'll have to wait and find out. I mean, I already have my review up on my Goodreads, but I want to leave some suspense for my July wrap up, you know? Next up, Atria ended up sending me 3 books recently. One of them is Meant to Be Mine by Hannah Orenstein, and this one actually just went on sale June 7th. This one's kind of cool because it explores the idea of what if you knew exactly when you'd meet the love of your life. It's so cool because it says her grandmother accurately predicted the day every single member of the family would meet their match, and for her, it's June 24th, 2022 when she's 29 years old. I don't know, I kind of like the idea of reading a romance where there's something a little bit more going on like that. That is very fascinating. I'd be curious to see if it ends up being what she expected, you know? And then they also sent Just by Looking at Him by Ryan O'Connell. This one was an ARC copy that they sent me, but this one ended up going on sale at the end of May. This one sounds so interesting because it follows a gay TV writer with cerebral palsy as he fights addiction and searches for acceptance in an overwhelmingly ableist world. This one also just sounds really good, and I don't know why I didn't realize that the author of this book is actually the lead actor on the Netflix show Special, which is a show that I really, really adore. Like, I love that show so much, and so I didn't even realize that the author of this book is that guy from the show. So I'm like, oh, okay. I know who the author is, that's cool. And then Atria also sent The Other Side of Night by Adam Hamdy, and this one sounds so interesting. This one goes on sale September 27th, so we have a little bit more of a wait for this one. This one sounds interesting because it follows 3 different characters, and you kind of get into the lives of all 3 of them. So the first guy is a man named David who is writing about the sudden separation from his son, and then we step into the life of Harriet, who is a police officer trying to clear her name after a lapse of judgment. She discovers a curious inscription in a secondhand book, a plea that help he's trying to kill me. Who wrote this note and who is he? And then we follow this guy Ben, who was once the love of her life, but he may also be a murderer. This one just sounds like it's gonna be really intriguing. I don't know why from this cover I was thinking it was giving sci-fi vibes, and now I don't know if that's the case or not, but either way it sounds like it's gonna be a really interesting mystery. Next little part of this book haul, I wanted to do a quick little library haul because I just want to remind everyone that the library is fantastic fantastic, and your local library probably has so many books that you might be looking for, and it's always cool to support your local library, you know? And so I wanted to show you, I recently got the last 3 volumes of Paper Girls from my library. My library has an incredibly large selection of graphic novels and manga, so I've been very lucky in that regard, because they also do have a lot of Junji Ito at my library, and this is one that I read during Summerween. And then my library also has nearly the entire Monster manga series there as well. I read these first 3 during Summerween, and it's become a new favorite series of mine, so of course I immediately went to the library and I got the next 3 in the series. And yeah, Monster is just a really great manga series if you're looking for something that's kind of more like thrillery. It's just a good time, you know? So I would definitely recommend going to your library and seeing if they have any manga available, because most of the time they probably do. Okay, and then next up, HTP Books ended up sending me Secluded Cabin Sleep 6 by Lisa Unger, and this is the same author as Confessions on the 745, which is a thriller that I really enjoyed, so I'm very excited to read this one. This one actually comes out November 8th, like a little while to wait for this one, but this one sounds so cool. It says, a chilling, locked room thriller about 3 couples who rent a luxury cabin in the woods and a weekend getaway to die for. Does that not sound like the best thing ever? Like, I love a locked room thriller, and I love cabin in the woods vibes. Like, I'm here for this. I kind of want to save this one to read around like Halloween time, just because it sounds like it'll be the perfect like spooky Halloween read, you know what I'm saying? Then Flatiron Books ended up sending me The Resemblance, which is another thriller that I'm very much looking forward to. This one also goes on sale in November this year. This is one I'm hella excited about because Flatiron Books tends to publish some of my favorite thrillers, and I just have good feelings about this one. I mean, just look at that cover. It's very like dark academia vibes just from the cover alone. On a chilly November morning at the University of Georgia, a fraternity brother steps into a busy crosswalk and is struck dead by an oncoming car. More than a dozen witnesses all agree on 2 things. The driver looked identical to the victim and he was smiling. Freaking sounds so creepy, oh my god. And then we follow the detective who's first on the scene, and she's the daughter of a professor at the university. I don't know, it just sounds like it's gonna be so like involved in this university and mystery and murder, and I can't wait. It sounds so good. Alright, and then the last books that I was sent this month, they were 3 books that were sent to me off my Amazon wish list, which like, oh my god, thank you so much to whoever sent this, but there was not a note, and so I don't know who actually sent these books. So like, if you did send them, please comment so that I can thank you, because oh my god, some random nice kind human sent me 3 books off my Amazon wish list. They sent me the Fangirl manga #2, which is like, oh my god, I'm so excited. I didn't even realize that this had come out already. Like, what the heck? But if you didn't know, Fangirl is like one of my top favorite books of all time. Like, Fangirl is god tier, and so I've been so excited for this manga series. I read the first one when it first came out, and I'm just so excited to continue in this manga series. I just know that when I read this, I'm gonna get the urge to like want to reread Fangirl again. But like, oh my god, that's so exciting. I can't wait. And then they also sent True Crime, which this is a short kind of like novella story that I've been wanting to read for so freaking long, especially because my friend Mikay really loves this one. So ever since he's talked about it, I've just wanted to read it even more. This one just sounds so fascinating because it just says that there's these 2 siblings who live with an abusive mother in a town where the stars don't shine at night. And then once the abuse becomes too much to handle, the 2 siblings embark on a cross-country murder spree beginning with their mom. What the fuck? It sounds like it's gonna be totally wild bonkers craziness. And then they also sent Petrified Women, which, oh my god, okay, first of all, look how cute and small this book is, okay? I did not realize it was going to be so small. Also, this is a horror novel. I think it is horror, maybe it is thriller, but this is one that I've had on my TBR for so freaking long, and I've been recommended by so many friends this book. Like, I have so many people in my DMs being like, you need to read Petrified Women. And whoever sent this to me, you're a real one, thank you, because I was hoping to read this book soon. All I really know about it is that it says some pranks go too far. This one could be deadly. And it's about some pranks that go wrong, I guess. And I'm sure there's more to it than that, but like, oh my gosh, isn't this adorable? This is only like 90 pages and they're so small. Oh my god, I love it. Live for it. I'm probably gonna read this in August. Alright, and then this final stack of books that I have are all books that I've bought for myself in the last month and a half or 2 months or so. The first one is The Picture of Dorian Gray, which this is by Oscar Wilde, and I literally bought this just because of this cover in particular, because I've been wanting to read this book for years, okay? I've been wanting to read it for forever. I know it's a classic, but I never liked the other covers of it. I always thought the covers were like super ugly, and then I went on Book Depository and I saw this one and I was like, wow, that is stunning. Like, I don't know what it is about this cover. I freaking love it. I'm obsessed. I think it's because, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like rain behind him, and it's just like this moody rain. I love this like circular white bit right here. Like, I just think it looks so nice. And so I'm definitely planning on reading The Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm so excited because all I know about it is that it's about a fashionable young man who sells his soul for eternal youth. So like, what the fuck, let's go. I might actually include this in my like classic horror reading vlog. I don't really know if this would be considered horror or not, but I feel like it would fit into that vlog somehow. So like, I might be saving it for that, but I don't know. I'm so excited. And then another classic horror that I actually also recently purchased is Frankenstein. This is another one that's like so small, so freaking cute. This is the classic by Mary Shelley, and this is another one that I'm planning to read in October for my classic horror reading vlog that I keep talking about. And this copy is just so freaking cute and adorable, and I actually saw this copy when I went on a recent book shopping vlog that I did with my mom. We went to another local town in Washington and I ended up buying 4 books during that video. This was one of them because, oh my god, I'm so excited to read Frankenstein. And then on that same trip, I ended up buying Foe by Ian Reid. This is another one that I'm so freaking excited to read because this is the same author as I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and I've heard really good things about this one, which is a book that came before that one. This is another, I think it's like a psychological horror, maybe thriller. Like, I don't really know the genre of this or what to expect, but I've just heard that it's absolutely wild and that I would love it and I need to read it. Yeah, all I really know is it's about these 2 people who live on an isolated farm, and one day a stranger from the city arrives with alarming news that he's been selected to travel far away from the farm. Like, what? I don't even know. It sounds wild. I also bought The Darkness Outside Us, which this is a young adult sci-fi novel that, in my opinion, actually reads a lot more like adult and was actually surprising as hell. Like, I ended up loving this one so much. This one is about these 2 gay boys who are alone in space, and it's like a romance at the same time, but it's also some really good sci-fi action happening in this book. No, I had such a good time with this one. It was so shocking and I just loved it so much. And then I also ended up buying The Damage, which this one is another like mystery thriller that I've heard really good things about, especially from my friend Matt. He said he thinks that I would love this one, and I've also heard this one get compared to Long Bright River, like that it has that kind of vibe, and like I am here for any thrillers that have Long Bright River vibes because I'm obsessed. This one just says an edgy, propulsive read about what a family pushed to the brink will do in the name of love and blood. So yeah, I don't really know. All I know is that it has small town vibes and that it's a good thriller, so I'm here. I also bought a copy of The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager because this is our July book troop pick. So if you haven't heard, the live show has been announced. We're going to be doing it on Sunday, July 31st at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and I'll have the link down below for the live show if you want to save the link, set a reminder, all of that stuff, because I'm going to be joined by my mom and my sister who also read this book this month. And yeah, I'm very excited to discuss this book with everyone because there will be so much to talk about, and me and my mom and my sister all felt differently about it. So I think it'll be a very interesting discussion. I also recently bought a few romances. I bought Book Lovers by Emily Henry because it's one of my favorite romances of the year, so I was like, I couldn't not own this book, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to buy myself a copy of it because when I read it, I checked it out from the library and I read it, but I was like, I need this on my shelves, so I ended up buying a copy of it. I also ended up buying a copy of Funny You Should Ask because this is a romance that I've been hearing really good things about, and I actually heard Noelle in a recent video, Noelle Gallagher. She mentioned that if you like Evelyn Hugo, she thinks you would like this book because it involves, like, you know, behind the scenes of the life of an actor or whatever, and I'm like, okay, sign me the fuck up, I'm here. And yeah, I've just been hearing really good things about this one, so I have high hopes. I really want to read this one in the month of August. I also ended up buying a copy of Kill River, and I bought this with the intention to read it during Summerween, and then I ended up DNFing it during Summerween, so that was kind of a bummer. But this one is a kind of like a slasher that takes place in 1983, and it follows a 13-year-old who's like going to this camp. And for me personally, the writing in this book just did not do anything for me. I just wasn't a huge fan of the writing, but I am a huge fan of the size of this book. It's just so cute. Like, I'm a huge fan of these mass market paperbacks, apparently. Like, they're just so cute and small. And then the last 4 books that I bought for myself recently were all books that I got from my local bookstore that I recently went to during, you know, my Summerween vlog. They do have ARCs there that you can take. It's like you basically do a $2 donation to the store, and then they let you take whichever ARCs you want. And while I was there, I found Out There Into the Queer New Yonder. And this one it's one of my favorite book covers of all time, like, not gonna lie. That's the main reason why I bought it, because I was like, look at this! I need it on my shelf. Like, I love the orange, I love the blue, it looks like fucking space and New York and a jungle. And this one just says 17 of today's most exciting LGBTQ plus YA authors have penned original short stories in this extraordinary new anthology featuring queer teens in the future. So it's kind of like sci-fi fantasy is what I'm getting from this, but we have 17 different authors who wrote these LGBT stories that I just cannot wait to read. I do recognize a few names on this too, like Claire Can, for example, The Romantic Agenda, one of my favorite books this year. And I don't know, I do recognize a couple names on this list, so like I'm very excited about this one. It's beautiful. I also got this romance on rotation. This one is one that I'm very excited about because it just sounds so cute. It follows a doctor, of course, and it says for fans of 7 Days in June and shows like Grey's Anatomy. It follows the life of a medical student as she balances her need for self-love and romantic love with her professional aspirations. I don't know, it sounds like it could be a cute time. I loved 7 Days in June, so like sign me the fuck up. I also found a copy of Burn Down, Rise Up, which this one is, it just says on the back, Stranger Things meets Jordan Peele. And I'm like, okay, that is literally all I need to know. It's about mysterious disappearances, an urban legend rumored to be responsible, and one group of friends determined to save their city at any cost. You know, what a bummer that I found this book and discovered this book like immediately after doing my Stranger Things video. But still, oh my god, how exciting, how cool. I'm still here for the Stranger Things vibes. And then the last book that I bought for myself this month was Aurora, which this was one of my most anticipated books of the year because it sounded like it was going to be a really cool kind of like sci-fi thriller. And this is another one that I ended up reading during Summerween. This one, it says it compares itself to Under the Dome meets Project Hail Mary. That's what it says on the back. So, you know, comparing it to Project Hail Mary is a bit of a leap, I think, but I do see the connection. I see what they were going for there. But yeah, this one we basically follow in a world that has had COVID. We follow a post-COVID world. There's some kind of like solar flare or like something kind of flare in the sky that knocks out the power on like most of the planet, and we kind of follow what happens after that. And I'm not gonna lie, I had really high hopes for this book and it ended up being mostly disappointing, so it was kind of a bummer. But yeah, those are all of the books that I have hauled for myself recently in the last 2 months. It's excessive. I mean, look at this. Oh my god. There's just books everywhere. It's so exciting though, you know? I just love it. Like, there's nothing like a good book haul. So yeah, thank you so much for watching as always. Please let me know if you've read any of these books. What are your thoughts on them? What are you thinking? Do you see any of your favorites? Do you think you see any that you would like for me to read that you want to know my opinion on? Please let me know. And thank you so much for watching and for hanging out, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye!